Welcome to Minority Focus. I'm your host, Jimmie Moore. I want to begin by thanking the staff of the station. They're shorthanded, and a lot of positions have been vacated and have not been filled, and this or that. But I want to thank them because when I approached them about doing this particular show, then all the rules seemed to go out the window, and they worked with me hand in hand to get this show for you today. My guests on the show today are two of Paducah's own. They ain't from here, but
we here now.
they belong to us now. Pastors of Washington Street Church and Christ Apostolic
Christ Temple
Church in Paducah, Reverend Raynarldo Henderson and Reverend
Anthony Walton.
Anthony Walton, you know I know that. If you watch the shows, you know that at the very beginning, there's a face that's always there. That's your face.
No.
Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
I never told you that. One of the shows that we did how many years ago? 6, 7, 8 years ago. They used a clip, a little clip, just a bit of it where you're talking to me.
Okay.
And that begins every single show.
Oh, okay. Well, good
there. Still my pastor, always my pastor, Pastor Henderson. Glad to have you both.
Glad to be here.
And we're here to present to you a very important happening that's coming up that Brother Walton has engineered. That'll be coming to you shortly. I won't say an awful lot more about it. I'll start by having Reverend Walton tell us about that.
Okay. Well, it all actually started from Pastor Henderson having a men's conference at his church, and got the idea from that to try to maybe take it away from the church atmosphere and put it in another place. Because sometimes, and we've talked about it, it's like if I have it in my church as a Christ Temple thing, if you have it at his church as a Washington Street thing, so maybe we can have it at the Civic Center, then it'll just be a community thing.
Right.
And so we come up with that idea to try to do it at the Civic Center. This is November the 18th of this year, the Sunday before Thanksgiving. And it's basically a men's community forum where men come together and we talk about issues that basically that we're dealing with as a community. And the titles, just basically just to summarize it all. One of them is dealing with the criminal justice system here in America, which is the new slavery, actually, another form of slavery. The other one's dealing with the drug problem here and the cure of the drug problem. And the other one is dealing with the Willie Lynch theory, whether it's fact or fiction. And whatever it is, what's the reason that we can't come together?
Right. Do the Willie Lynch. Willie Lynch.
Well, I don't know the actual date, but Willie Lynch is put together a article passes around basically, and that is to how to keep people apart, how to keep people away from each other, and it talks about just giving them, gosh, I can't. I'm trying to quote it just right. But bottom line, it's the Willie Lynch syndrome is people being apart, African Americans being apart, why we are crabs in a barrel, why we keep each other down as opposed to lifting each other up.
Particularly black people.
Particularly,
Right.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely.
Right. And the thing about it is that we don't. Like we were talking the other day, you and I, there have been some discrepancies as to whether it was an actual letter or not.
Right.
And that's why I said fact or fiction, but we still have a problem.
Exactly. Whether it's fact or fiction, the fact is that for some odd reason, African Americans cannot come together to work together for the good of our communities and for the good of each other. And so we're going to try to examine. We know it's true, but we're going to try to come up with some solutions, some things, some remedies as to what we can do as a community and as a people to work together and for the common good of our communities.
Right. Exactly. Right. And you know, it's interesting because it seems like our community is so stricken with so many different issues, with the drug problem, with the prison problem. You know, because we are only a certain percentage of America's population. but we are almost 50% of the prison population.
Exactly.
And so you know there's got to put a tear in our home structure, in our churches, in our communities as a whole. And so there's an issue there, and not counting with the drug problem. And then if we can't get together,
Right.
then we still got it's an even bigger problem. Exactly. Exactly.
I know that both of you have spent time dealing particularly with the judicial system, the court system, that you've spent time in the courtroom observing and making, and I know that's something you're going to particularly address.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And this is really beautiful because there's the connection there, in that you both, I know, Brother Pastor, that you're going to aspire to be a city commissioner.
Yes.
In the coming election, and that would perhaps give you any number of avenues as to how to for the city.
Absolutely. Well, I think this is so unique. First of all, we have to understand that if our communities are going to thrive, we have to empower men.
Yes. Yes.
That's number one. The second thing that's unique about this partnership is that both Reverend Walton and I have put aside our denominations. I'm Baptist. Reverend Walton is apostolic. And so we understand that the needs within our community are so much greater than me being Baptist and he being apostolic.
Right,
so we've thrown all of that out the window because it's not about denomination.
Right.
It's about coming together, bringing our resources, our energy, our wisdom together so that we can empower men. And as I said earlier, if we can empower men, then we can empower the home. If we can empower the home, then we can empower the church. If we can empower the church, then we can empower and advance the kingdom. And that's what this whole forum is about, as Reverend Walton said earlier, trying to address issues that affect men.
Right.
Now, I think it's important, we're going to be talking about empowering African American men, but it is not limited to African American men. We're interested in men, because if we're going to do anything in our communities, we need black men and white men working together. We have so much more in common than we have as far more in common than differences. And so we're just going to be working to do this. And I think Reverend Walton and I have talked about making sure that this is not just something that we do on November 18th.
Right.
But it is something that we do maybe every quarter to involve men to deal with the issues that are affecting our communities.
I talked with someone earlier. I talked with Reverend Walton some time ago about something of this nature, and I remembered saying that the people that were on a panel or whatever, it would be so wonderful not disrespectfully, but not to introduce them by their titles, titles aside, and preferably in jeans and t-shirts, and to get all that out of the way. And I think it's beautiful that you do it, and it's something that all denominations in this city, if they all came together, putting all of that aside, then there wouldn't be that question. Should I do this because I'm not that, or there's neither here or there. We were talking earlier, and I said, ain't about us know how.
And even what Pastor Henderson was saying about, even though it's maybe catered to the black community, it would be so much better if other races would come, because I believe, this is my own personal belief, and you can jump in if you want to, but I believe that we are probably the most misunderstood race that there is, and I believe we have probably more issues than any race in this country. And I think a matter of understanding maybe some of our downfalls or some of the issues that we have. I believe that the white community can, if they understood the struggles and the things that we have to deal with on a regular basis, maybe they would be more apt to help us to excel in some areas.
Well, I think you're absolutely right, but I think also the bottom line, a part of the vision of our church is to be a leader in race relations and in reconciliation. And in order to bring races together, in order for there to be some type of reconciliation, we have to spend time talking. We have to spend time dialoguing. We have to spend time getting to know each other. And when I get to know you, then I understand a little bit of your struggle.
That's it.
And
That's
when you
it.
understand me, then you understand my struggle, and then we come together and we're more sensitive.
Exactly.
See, when I don't know Pastor Walton's struggle, it's easy for me to sit on the sidelines and criticize what he does,
Exactly.
how he does, what he shouldn't do, what he ought to be doing. But then when I understand his struggle, when I understand what he has dealt with, then I become a little more sensitive. And so that particular action that didn't make sense to me before, it makes sense to me now because I know his struggle. And so when we come together as races, and when our white brothers and sisters come together with our black African American brothers and sisters, then we can talk and we can dialogue, and then they can understand a little bit of the African American struggle.
Exactly.
When they understand the African American struggle, then they begin to understand that all African Americans are not lazy. Or all African Americans are not shiftless. But at the same token, when African Americans begin to understand our white Americans and their struggle and their history, then they begin to think and know that all whites are not prejudiced. All whites hair don't smell like dog when they wet. You see what I'm saying? Those are some of the stereotypes that we have of each other, and those stereotypes are there
keep us divided
because we have not taken the time to get to know each other. And as long as I don't know you, then I don't have to come together. And if I don't have to come together with you, talk with you, struggle with you, cry with you, celebrate with you, then I don't have to worry about you. You do your thing, I do mine.
Over the years, it's come to me, and one thing that has helped me is to realize that a lot of people, white people, that I encounter today that are racist, whatever, they don't know any better. Because you can take a child and teach them anything, make them anything, if you keep them in a certain kind of environment. And that man who today calls me nigger, his grandfather, his great-grandfather, his father, his mother, his brothers, and everybody around him did it all his life. And he doesn't know any better. Once you can get in touch with why a man does what he does, you kill two birds with one stone.
And certainly doesn't make it right, but you have a greater sensitivity to why he has done or is doing what he is doing.
And in doing that, the two stones are you dissipate your feeling, your pain, your hurt, and you get better in touch with the reality of that person.
That's right.
Exactly. And you know, one of the things that I look at, and we've said it before, and I've had some criticisms from this because one of my on the radio show one time we were just basically talking about our issues as far as nobody now has to help us to destroy us. I mean, nobody has to stand back and say, we're going to destroy the black community. We're doing a real good job of that ourselves. Okay, we're the ones that's selling drugs to each other. We're the ones that's coming in and doing certain things. We're the ones that's fighting the schools. And a lot of things that we are doing within the community that if we can not do, it will help us. So the race thing a lot of times is I wonder sometimes, are we still using that as a means to keep us in a certain area?
Hey guys, I'm sorry.
Excuse me, was there one other topic? Were there three topics?
It was three of them. It's three of them. The prison system, the drug problem, and the Willie Lynch, the separation thing. You know,
the prison system and the drug problem kind of intertwined.
They can, but it's the whole spirit of what the prison system has done as far as to the black community. There's a spirit behind that. You understand what I'm saying? It's like when I say slavery with another name, it started after the slaves were free. There was nobody to mend the farms, nobody to work. So let's catch the black men as they were walking home and trump them up with charges, put them back on the chain gang, and make them work now. You see what I'm saying? So now it might be dressed up a little bit different, but it's still the same spirit.
Well, if your upbringing is not of a particular kind of upbringing, and you're from Chicago, it is good, I think, for all people who grow up in certain kinds of environments in Chicago to move out of it Go somewhere else, see something else, be something else, do something else. Now, from what I do know about you, your mother wasn't going to have it any other way she had it. But some of those mothers there don't have that kind of control over their kids.
And I think that's significant. And let me just kind of double back a little bit. One of the things that does concern me, and I think that hopefully we can talk about, and that is that I often say at our church when I'm preaching, to try to get people out of this blame game syndrome. We're busy blaming the white man. We're busy blaming this man or that man because I don't have a job or because of that. And so I try to get our folk to understand that some of our problem is us.
Thank you. That's exactly right.
So we can't always say it's their fault because I don't have a job, or it's their fault because I don't have this. But on the other end of the spectrum, and this is where I think dialoguing is so important, we have to understand that every person who sells drugs, though it is not right, there's a certain element that has pushed them to where they are. In other words, what I mean by that, when a young brother gets out of jail, going to jail because, and you mentioned it, perhaps there's not a father in the home, and so there's some mistakes made. He goes to jail. But when he gets out of jail, our communities
shuts down on him.
Have not come together in such a way to say, okay, here's a young man that's gotten out of jail. Now, how are we going to help him become a contributing and successful member of society? Okay? And so what we do is we don't say we don't want you. We just say we don't want you. We dress it up, because you're a felon or because of you. And so therefore, when a young brother or a young sister gets out of jail and doesn't feel as if there is any hope, then they are forced back to survive the only way they've known how to survive. And then on the other side of the coin, it becomes too hard to survive out here. And so therefore, it's easier to do something else so I can go back to prison, because when I'm back in prison, I have at least 3 meals a day, somebody tells me what to do, and that's how I survive. So the dialogue is important, because on one end, this is where things are, but then we have to help our white brothers and sisters understand, and many of our African American brothers and sisters to understand why an individual does what he or she does. And it's not all because they're bad.
I've heard it said that for people who commit crimes, who do whatever crimes, go to prison, sell drugs, steal, whatever, that black people are harder on those people trying to get out of wherever they were, trying to be better. That black people are harder on them than any other races on their people. That white people will reach and get that person who's gotten themselves down and help to bring them back to where they need to be. But black people don't do that. That's what I hear.
That's part of the whole reason that for the forum, the Willie Lynch thing. Because in some instances you're right, but then my grandmother used to say long time ago when I was growing up, she used to say, if it wasn't for the good white folks. She used to say that all the time, and that was the ones that would reach down and grab and help. That wasn't out to try to hurt and destroy. So it works both ways.
I think that there are blacks and there are whites who do reach back and do really well. There's some folk right here in our own city, both black and white, that I have enjoyed working with, because their heart is not about the color. It's about, hey, how do we help and how do we lift people? But now, I can't speak as ably about whether black folk or white folk keep folk down, but I can speak as an expert to know that the church keeps folk down. Okay, because I pastor a church, whether black or white, and one of the things that I know with surety is that the church is not always sensitive to people who come through our doors, who've been in trouble, who've been in prison, who have struggles. We sometimes, I talked last night in Bible study where Jesus told Peter to cast out your net, okay, and get ready for a catch. And I suggested that when we get ready for a catch, all kinds of fish come in, and we don't have the pleasure, if you will, or the opportunity to say, I want that fish, I want that fish, and throw them back in the lake. But we do throw people back in the lake because of how we treat them.
Yeah.
Because of the unwelcome signs. We don't have signs up to say, you're not welcome.
Right, but we show
treat you like you're not welcome. So we don't throw them back in the lake, they run and jump back in the lake.
Let me get this in. The forum, the two of you represent 2 of 6 people that are going to be
right,
part of the
2 of
forum.
6.
Only 2 of 6. 18 November, that's the weekend before
Thanksgiving.
The Sunday before Thanksgiving.
at the Robert Cherry
Civic Center at 3 o'clock.
At 3 o'clock, and approximately 3 till 5.
3 to 5, depending on how it goes. You know,
It's going to be. Now, one particular element, and I know I don't have to mention this, lest a whole bunch of women folk jump on us, because we nobody saying nothing about women.
But they're welcome.
Powerful women out there that work in this particular area, that are doing things, moving, getting it done,
Right.
and they'll be there too. But I do understand, in a lot of, as it should be, men should be in that particular role to help get with the assistance and help and worthwhile help and professional help.
Yeah.
Because women out there kicking it, you know. But I grew up with 6 sisters, and I knew a long time ago, women are the stronger sex. I know this.
Okay.
So there's no diminishing.
I'll just let you have that one.
No diminishing their role.
But you can tell that they have a lot of strength. Look at Samson. Look at Adam. Look at Solomon. You know. So yeah. Look at all these people that women have torn down. So anyway.
Oh wow.
Can we cut that out?
Yeah.
I need to.
Look at some of these folks running for president.
Need to edit the tape on that one.
But and we also need to make sure people know it's free.
Right.
Okay.
There's no registration fee. You ain't got to pay anything. Just come. Come and let's dialogue. Let's fellowship.
Absolutely.
Let's come up with not only knowing what the problems are,
Come up with some solutions.
Absolutely. And there's going to be, from what I understand, and another thing too. This is going to be on Sunday, and normally, like most organizations, they shut down on weekends.
Right.
They go home and enjoy their weekends. The station has consented to come to tape this on a Sunday.
Praise God.
On a Sunday.
Praise God. Praise God.
Dan's
Man, that's a blessing.
assured
That's
me
a
of
blessing.
that.
Yeah.
One thing we got to check on is the sound system there in the.
We're gonna
We're going to have a microphone for people to come up and.
Right. We're gonna have mics for people to come up and ask the panel questions. We're gonna have mics on the panel as well, so that those that do speak will be able to be heard.
Right. Okay.
And we'll make sure that it's mic'd, that the podiums are mic'd and everything.
Right.
That people are going to be heard for sure.
Right.
It's not. It is so rare that something of this nature happens for the public.
Right.
You know, to take part in and stuff. At the last one that I remember, a couple of young men complained about not having jobs and whatever. And I talked to them, you know, well, try this, try that, whatever. One of them said, yeah, but you're all educated. I said, brother, I got a GED.
Oh, wow.
I can't tell you how good it made me feel
I
to
know
say
to
that
say
to them.
that.
So it ain't about that. And like Pastor Henderson mentioned earlier, the brain thing, you know, what are you doing?
That's right.
Right.
What are you doing to better yourself?
Exactly.
It ain't about sitting back saying, okay, somebody give me all the solutions, all the answers,
Right.
and tell me how to give me everything it takes to get back to where I need to be.
Yeah.
There's some things that you got to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We have to take away this sense of entitlement, and that is believing that everybody owes me something.
Right. And that ain't the case. That's why I use my testimony. I came out of prison. I became a store manager. I managed a grocery store without a college degree, without a business degree. God gave me the ability to do it, and I was able to do it until coming to Christ Temple began to be, I needed to be full-time here. So I ended up letting that go to become a pastor. You know, so there's no excuses. If we put our minds to it and allow God to help us, we can accomplish anything.
Well, out of respect and regard for the positions that you're in of leadership, you know, the leader of flocks, the shepherds of organizations. I introduced you and alluded to your pastorships and what have you. But again, that's one of the things that I had in mind early. I thought about early on. Ain't about that. I said to someone before taping this show today, in conversation, that I didn't want to allude to anybody's position, title, or anything of the sort. They fussed at me big time. Oh, these people have worked hard for what they've done. You should introduce them by their titles. But in a situation, this ain't about you.
Right.
It's about what you're going to give, hopefully give, bring to the public that can help them. So you're doing what the Lord said do. It's got nothing to do with, I challenge, I dare the churches in this community on any given Sunday, one church take the whole congregation to another church just to visit. And do it every single Sunday until every church here has been to visit their brother. Don't you go visit your kin people? You go visit your kin folk every now and then. I mean, you do. So we're Christian brothers and sisters. Why can't we go visit one another every day? Well, you know, we might miss out on that, whatever was coming that day, you know. I go, oh, I got a big dare. Whatever your collection would have been that day, take it up and give it to the other church. And then when a church comes to you, they bring theirs to you. Somebody go fuss on that.
Who's this guy?
What are you trying to do?
Edit this part too.
What is he trying to do? What's he talking about?
But I do have a response to that. I think first of all, let me go back. I think that, you know, all of us have, you know,
we've got about 2 minutes.
Okay, everybody's been to school. Some people have been to school, but it's not about any of that. As you said, people who are secure in themselves, they don't have to always be addressed by their title.
Exactly.
People, we just coming together as regular folk, trying to come up with some solutions for the problems that plague our communities.
And we just happen to be pastors.
And
Just happen to be pastors. Last word.
Okay, I just want people to come out. I want people to know about it. This is a men's community forum, November the 18th at the Civic Center from 3 to 5. Come out and let's dialogue.
A couple of things. He who forgets the past is destined to repeat it. And the words of lift every voice and sing. Those words.
Right.
And lest we forget. That ain't just for black people.
Right.
Because I know it's a whole bunch of people, period, white and black, that don't want to do that no more. They don't want the remnants of it gone. And the things that you're doing, this upcoming forum, will maybe, hopefully, prayerfully, somehow help.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping
make
for.
that situation.
Absolutely.
That's what we're hoping for.
A lot. But be mindful of this sort of thing that happens in the community, please. And participate. Come and listen. And if you're one of those people that can listen, you can learn. You can learn something. You know, I'm 60 years old, and I tell my kids all the time, I learn something every day. Every day of my life, I'm surprised somehow by the things that I learn. Hope you'll be part of this on November the 18th. That's the week before Thanksgiving. Come out and join in on something that's very important to our community. For Minority Focus, I'm Jimmie Moore.